Hey guys, Tech Guy here, and in this video we are going to talk about the 7 different reasons, or my predictions. Some of them are predictions, some of them are reasons, some of them are just what I hope to see of the iPhone 7. So, let's get right on it. So, the first reason is the release date. Apple always seems to, or at least now in these first few years, Apple releases their product somewhere within the month of September. So hopefully we'll see it, the release of the iPhone 7 this September, which is a little bit of a while. It's about a half a year, but hopefully we'll see it at the next keynote. So looking forward to that. Those definitely get me excited. The second thing is the iPhone 4S and 4, for example. We've always seen that Apple kind of has a pattern to their releases of the iPhone. They've started, for example, the iPhone 3, now they had 3G. They went from a 3 to the really good iPhone to a new GPS. With the 4, it went from a 3G. The 3 had the curve kind of a little bit, wasn't really as curved as the iPhone 6, but they wasn't really as flat. It went from that to an iPhone 4 with a totally new design, and then it went from the iPhone 4 to the 4S, which the 4S didn't really have a design change. It was strictly focused on Siri. Then the iPhone 5, we had the iPhone 5, which had a taller screen. It was a little bit lighter. And then we had the iPhone 5S and the 5C. The 5C is kind of out of it. We're not really looking at the 5C, but we'll look at the 5S. The only thing that changed with the 5S is that they added Touch ID. So we kind of have seen a pattern. The first one of each generation is the design change, and the second one, which is usually the S, is focused more on features of that newer designed phone. So the 4 was the design change, and they had the 4S, which Siri design did not change. 5, taller screen. 5S just came with Touch ID. Then we have the 6, which is this one here, and the 6 was a complete new design. We had a taller screen, curved, aluminum, and then we had the 6S, which the 6S had, all the features about that Touch ID and all that stuff. So you kind of see a pattern. So probably the iPhone 7, we can clearly see that the iPhone 7 is going to be focused on design. But there are some other things too that we will discuss. I hope to see more than just a design, hopefully. But that's what Apple has done in the past. So hopefully we'll see a change there. So, number 3, iOS. So, Apple, their iOS, the biggest change in iOS, the biggest one was from iOS 6 to iOS 7. That iOS 7 had a completely new design, but since then, all the designs have been the same, and Apple just would every now and then, every iOS up from iOS 7 all the way up to 9, there are just little things that they would put on. Like, one of the biggest features that they talked about, from what I remember, in iOS 9 is the Spotlight search, where you can go here, and you can kind of search with whatever, let me focus the screen here, you can do with whatever, you can search whatever. It goes from apps to contacts to whatever is in your phone, completely anything in your phone. And that was the biggest change. That was the biggest feature that Apple talked about. And Apple's really good at creating hype and excitement. They'll say, "Look at this cool feature," and it's kind of cool, but I haven't really been finding it necessary to use. I haven't really used it. I hardly ever use that because I know how to use an iPhone. Everyone should. But they'll add features here and there that Apple thinks that. That's kind of cool. I don't want to put Apple down and say it's not cool. It is cool. But in the same way, it's not really that necessary. I haven't really used it. But that is the biggest feature that in iOS 9 that Apple put in there. So that was just one thing we'll talk about the iOS 9. But hopefully, when we see the iOS, hopefully when the iPhone 7 comes out, we'll see a better iPhone having the iPhone 7. Hopefully, seeing a better, hopefully newer designed iOS 10. So hopefully it'll be completely designed, and hopefully that's hoping to see when the iPhone 7 comes out, is they'll have a new iOS running on it. So something great, hopefully. Something really good that Apple really gets us all excited that something's really cool. So that's iOS. Number 4 is charging. Apple doesn't. One of my other things I do not like about the iPhone, I already talked about design, but one of the other things I really do not like is that you can't. I mean, the Apple doesn't really have fast charging. And hopefully we'll see that in the iPhone 7, that their devices will be able to charge faster. Now, for me, it's not much of a problem either, because I also have my iPad. So I use the bigger wall plug, because the iPad comes with a bigger wall plug, so it's a bigger device. So it'll charge. And even then, the iPad does take a long time to charge. So, I mean, hopefully we'll see that change, but a lot of other phones already have that. So, I mean, that's something that Apple's kind of fallen behind on. I mean, and Apple's really capable of doing a lot of things, and this really surprises me that Apple hasn't already done this. And we're like, how many years? Like 8, 9, 10 years already with the iPhone, and Apple still hasn't gotten there yet with charging. That's one thing that Apple still needs to improve on, is making a better charged phone, because it takes a long time. It takes few hours for me to charge my phone using the wall plug that it came with. So I use my iPad wall plug instead, so my phone will charge faster. But then also in the same way, that also goes with using the phone. It doesn't last very long, but it also depends on how much you use it. So hopefully we'll see a charging change with the iPhone 7, with it being able to charge faster. Because they did shrink the battery in the iPhone 6s, so that's kind of bad. I don't know why they did, but hopefully that won't be the case in the iPhone 7. Number 5, display. So I can say, and this is one positive thing, really, I'm not saying that everything else I said is negative, but this is one thing I really, really 100% enjoy and really appreciate with the iPhone 6, is the Retina HD display on the phone. And that also goes under camera as well, too, which one thing Apple kind of need to improve on. But also with the HD, the detail when you take a picture or do a video, it's good in the light. But when the dark, because when I record Space Mountain for my roller coaster videos, it's kind of dark. It's a lot lighter on the computer than it is on when it appears on the iPhone, because the camera doesn't really work well with that darkness. So hopefully that'll be another change too with the iPhone 7. It'll have a better camera. The other thing, back to design real quick, I kind of wanted to bring back a little bit also that I really do not like, is the protruding camera on the design of the phone. Hopefully you will see with the camera, but one thing that kind of do know is, I guess, that you can't really have a protruding because the iPod Touch also has a protruding camera as well. So I guess that's just because they make the iPhone or iPod so thin that they can only fit so much, because I was told that the camera can only be so thin in order for it to record. So, I mean, I guess the only option there, back to design, is making the phone a little bit thicker, but we'll see what happens with design. But that also kind of goes with with taking pictures, because they made it so small, maybe it can't record very good video or take good pictures because it's so thin. I don't know. But as far as HD is concerned, I really do appreciate that. It does take good video, and I really do like the HD. I really don't have any complaints for the phone, so nothing to really say there for the iPhone 7 change. Number 6 is the A10 chip. Hopefully, I mean, we probably will see it. There's no hopefully there. We will see probably an A10 chip in the iPhone 7. Because the previous chip we had is the the current one, actually not previous, current one is the A9 chip in the iPhone 6s. And in the iPhone 6 we had the A8 chip. And I will have to say, I mean, I don't know if it's a chip itself or if it's just the phone. But at least on my phone and on my iPad, sometimes apps crash. And both my devices, I always get the 16 gigabyte. But I mean, I don't really buy a lot of things. So the thing that I think that appears most on my phone is pictures. I have a lot of photos. I don't have a lot of music, but photos is what takes up the most space on my phone. And one thing I was told is when you take a lot of photos, it causes it to crash. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the chip or if it's just the but I bought the 16 gigabytes, so I can't tell you. I don't know. But But sometimes apps will crash on my devices, but that's because my iPod Touch is the only one that is 32 gigs, but my iPhone and my iPad are both 16 gigabytes. I try to buy the cheapest one because Apple is very expensive when it comes to that, so I don't know if we're going to see a 16 gigabyte model in the newer version, iPhone 7, but we'll see. And that's what leads to 7 is storage. Hopefully when we see the iPhone 7, I don't know if they're going to continue to have 16 gigabytes. But for me, I just try to go for the cheapest one. I much rather prefer 32 gigabytes. But I picked the 16 gigabyte because it's cheaper. I'll go with the cheapest one. Whatever cheapest one I can buy, I'll buy it. I like to save much money as I can. But anyways, those are my 7 reasons. But we probably will see an A10 chip. And then it'll be nice. But those are my 7 reasons of what I think in my iPhone 7 thoughts and predictions. And hopefully, with everything I said, hopefully they'll improve a lot of things. But again, those are all my opinions. So I mean, if you disagree with anything, feel free to comment below and tell me what you think. If you agree or disagree with anything I have stated in this video. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming later. Peace.